Dr. Lydia, good to see you.
Thank you. Good evening.
How are you?
I am blessed, and you?
Could you give us an opening prayer, please?
Okay. Let's pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for who you are. We bless your name, O God, for the life and the times of our lives are in the palm of your hand, and that, Lord, no plan of yours can be thwarted. As we come together, Lord, to seek for knowledge and information and even for wisdom on how to bring up the next generation, my Father and my God, we submit totally to the power of the Holy Spirit. We say, sweet Holy Spirit, come and rule and reign in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirits. Rule, Lord, that we shall receive, and as we receive, Lord, may we be careful to perform that which you have commanded, that your kingdom come, that your will be done in our lives as it is in heaven. We bless you this evening and we honor you, for it is in Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
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 Thank you very much, Dr. Lydia. As most of us are still joining in, I'm glad to be your host this evening. My name is Amanda, and I serve here with Copath Impact. I'm glad to host you this evening. I expect more people should be joining in. So before I start, I want to give a chance to about 5 people to say hello, say where they're listening in from, their expectations this evening. Yeah, and any other information you want us to know about you. Who is ready to go first?
My name is Jonathan. I'm a parent. I'm listening here from Nairobi, Ruaraka area. My expectations are to learn more about parenting. Yes.
Thank you so much. Any more? I still have more 4 people to just share with us where they're listening in from, their expectations, and also any other information.
I'm Elizabeth. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Elizabeth.
Whatever, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Chege. I'm a counseling I'm a marriage and family therapist. And I'm in Roiro area. And my expectation, I want just as this is a key topic, even in the area that I serve. So it's an interesting topic, and I'm keen. Although I want to, I might leave because I need to join another meeting at around 8. So in case you see me leaving, it's just that I need to join another meeting at 8 p.m. But I'm looking forward to whatever I'll learn for tonight, for this moment.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Any other person?
Good
Hey.
evening. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Catherine. I live in Kampala, and I'm just interested in learning more about parenting and what causes conflict, as was highlighted. And just knowledge is good. I believe knowledge helps us to break any dysfunctional ways of living. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Hope Kampala is good.
As always, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jen?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jane Joka. I'm tuned in from Meru County. I'm a counseling psychologist. And in my, I'm doing my work, I've realized that we really know so little about parenting and how to go around it. So that's the reason I'm here. I may also be leaving at around 8 because of another meeting. So when you see me leave, because of another crucial meeting where I'll be chairing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. I'm glad to see you this evening. I need a gentleman. Peterson? I'm only seeing ladies here. Dominic? Okay, it seems a gentleman. I don't know. Let's have more ladies.
There's John Owino.
Okay, John Owino, dialing in from Ngong. Basically a parent, grandfather actually. So just keen to see how we can support the younger ones in terms of how to manage conflict when it comes to children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. So for those who have just joined us,
Martin
my name is
Manyanja.
Yes, this is Martin. Good evening. Tuning in from Uganda. A young parent, so just here to understand really what we have to be keen about and to learn from those who have the experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayanja. All those from Uganda, Kampala, Mbalamusiza. I hope you have a good time this evening. So, indeed, we are glad to have you this evening on this webinar titled Handling Parenting Differences Between a Mother and Father. So we are looking at it as two hearts having one voice. And we know that parenting is really one of those very most meaningful experiences we have, but also sometimes very challenging. So as we take this journey, I hope we can learn from this webinar and, share experiences in every, and we know that, parents meet, marriage makes two people meet, and all these two people, they all have different stories, they all have different past experiences from different family cultures, and even a lot of unspoken expectations. Okay, so when these two meet, we have the gifts of children. And most of our backgrounds, cultures, perceptions of life will also communicate in the way we parent our children. So this evening, we're going to have a very wonderful conversation, okay, where we are going to be able to explore the hidden roots behind why these differences exist, okay, how can we remain different and yet united as parents? Okay, and we shall also see some practical tools to help us stay aligned in our parenting journey. And just before we continue, I just have an icebreaker for us. I think you can share in the comment section. Think about a recent parenting situation. It might not be recent, maybe something that passed where you and your partner handled something differently. Okay, think about it. What is that situation that you handled differently? And you can also share what the situation was and what you think each parent, each one of you was trying to achieve in that situation. If you can share in the comment section so that we see what we are all going through. And my prayer is that there's some people here who have joined in as a couple so that they all, are in sync with what is being shared, instead of one joining and then the other is just receiving news. So let's share. Let's share in the comment section. Or maybe let me share that icebreaker with you so that we can.
This meeting is being recorded.
So let's share our experiences, those moments where you were totally on a different page with your partner regarding your parenting, approaches. Let's think of a recent parenting situation where you and your partner handled something differently. We are quite a number of us. I'm sure we've had those experiences. Or those who feel can't type, you can unmute and share briefly as we prepare for our presenter today to share with us, our guest. What's happening? Are we all doing well? We are perfect parents. You don't have any differences in parenting approaches.
Hello.
Wow. Someone has shared when my son of 17 years got involved in a sexual relationship, my husband opted for beating as I opted for talks. Indeed, they are totally two different approaches, and I can imagine the 17-year-old being told to lie down and being caned. Thank you very much. I don't know who this person is, but I'll just call you by your, Samsung. Any other experiences? Anne. Okay, you're not Samsung, you're Anne. So that was Anne. She has shared her experience. Okay, let's just 1 more minute for this icebreaker for us to kick off our main session for the day. Okay, Carol says, when my children were young, the dad favored one daughter over our son, which created a lot of rivalry between them. Yes, I know sometimes dads with their daughters, that relationship is totally different, but of course, children will never perceive this the same way we want to perceive it. Then Sam says there's a situation where my daughter was supposed to go for a tour and I declined. Well, my husband just paid without us sitting on a round table. My reason was there's no report on the previous tour as previously agreed. I see. Then another one, a friend, 17-year-old boy was caught in an indiscipline issue and the mother decided to cane him. It was humiliating, but later we talked and resolved the issue. Amazing. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Okay, Jocelyn says when you correct your child, but you're not on the same page. Yeah, this is very common because we all have different people approach correcting methods differently. So it's important that we all work towards being in sync on everything concerning our children. Florence says one time she had a problem with her daughter, and when her husband came, she discussed with the dad, and he sided with the daughter without knowledge. The following morning at around 4 a.m., her husband took her to his sister. It was not easy. Sorry for that, Florence. So it doesn't need to get to that. If you're on the same page from the word go concerning these children, it is really a beautiful experience for the both of you. So thank you so much. Okay, let's have more submissions as we give time to our facilitator to get ready. More submissions, please.
My name is Jonathan again.
Yes,
I'm a young parent, and my spouse is attending also. She's around. We have challenges when it comes to feeding, because I'm a believer of when food is in the house, they should look for it wherever it is. But her, she's a believer of taking a spoon and a plate and making sure she does feed them physically. So it's an issue to us for now, but we are here to learn.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It is indeed very common with young parents because everyone comes in with their, that joy, first time parenting. And there is just so much that we keep learning on job as first time parents. Any more submissions? Let's share experiences where there were differences in parenting approaches with our partners. It also applies to those who are co-parenting, because parenting is happening everywhere. Or those who have dealt with family, those who do family counseling, are there situations you really faced and you have gotten stuck on how to help these families? Okay. So let's just give it a minute, and we have a facilitator for the day.
Yes, thank you once again so much. God has been gracious to us. We don't take it for granted being alive at this moment, especially in this season and time. Every moment is a special moment. We keep saying that we are expressions of God. He lives in us, through us, and everything we do, it's it's not us, it's Him doing everything through us. It's amazing to see you joining us today for this amazing moment that we're going to learn and share. This is not an easy topic to handle because there are quite many different approaches, different cultural backgrounds. People look at things differently, but all in all, we bless the Lord for the grace that is given us to be able to share. My name is Gibson. I work with Copath Impact. Allow me just to put my screen right. I work with Copath Impact. And our work is to make values livable, trainable, ingrainable, and livable. We basically work in the aspect of personal development. Specifically, our focus is to see that we live in a changed world, a changed generation. We develop products, materials, we do trainings. We basically do, we work in helping or making parenting much more easier. Things that have been hidden before, we are demystifying them. One of the aspects we are saying is parenting comes in two aspects. There's a natural aspect of parenting, and there's the skill part of parenting. And skill, as the name sounds, a skill that you must acquire. Why? Because the way we were parenting in those generations, it's quite different from the world that you're parenting our children. In those days, it was actually the father, the mother, maybe the neighbors, the school. But today, your own child in your own house is being parented by the entire world. They're learning things from you, but they're also learning from the world. They have different influencers, they have different role models from a young age. They're exposed to different informations and different aspects of life, different cultures globally. And so as a parent, you need a skill on how to navigate the current challenges that are posed by the current culture that we are raising our children in. One of the issues that we feel it's quite critical is when you and your wife or you and your husband, you find yourself at crossroads on certain aspects within your house or within different houses. Maybe you separated, you divorced, and there are children in between you. And sometimes you find yourself, you're not able to navigate these moments. And you sometimes don't know who to call or to ask. And it takes a toll of you physically, emotionally, spiritually. And so that's today's presentation is a response to those kinds of settings and situations. God in his wisdom, he never meant that we would be the same. But he created us differently, placed us in different settings, different environments that we grew up in. Then after staying in those different environments for 20-something, 30 years, you meet someone else who also grew up in a totally different world. And you are expected to be one, agree, and raise a family with a united front. But it becomes very challenging, especially when there are conflicts arise because of things that could be beyond your control or things that you just don't know how to handle. And so today we are privileged to have this presentation, handling parenting differences between father and mother. We look forward, it's going to be quite interactive. We're going to talk and we're going to learn. This presentation is actually part of the course that we offer, which is starting Wednesday, Parenting by Design. This content is covered in that course at a much more deeper level. So today may just brush on top and not necessarily go much more deeper. So if you feel you want to gain more knowledge in this kind of knowledge and skills, especially for the modern day child. A modern day parent parenting a modern day child. That's how we come in. Our courses are well researched, tested, with clear working frameworks, which are quite practical and implementable in almost all kinds of settings and situations within the parenting setting. So we encourage you, just in case you feel you want to get more knowledge, we encourage you, don't hesitate, kindly reach out. We are starting a course on Wednesday, 2 hours every Wednesday for about 8 sessions. And you're going to gain quite a lot in terms of practical knowledge and skills. This presentation covers 2 parts. Because you feel we are represented here, both parts are represented here. One voice, 2 hearts, 1 roof. This is whereby the father, the mother, and the children are staying in the same roof. And then 1 voice, 2 hearts. 1 voice, 2 hearts. This was meant to be 2 roofs. Sorry, I think it's supposed to be 2 roofs, but it's okay. My machine's a bit slow, but it is fine. Yes. So 1 setting is whereby the father and the mother are staying within the same setting, within the same home. The next setting is whereby there's, as life happens, they probably separated and staying in different homes in a setting where we call co-parenting. It's reality that we can never run away from. You find yourself in that setting and you have this child who depends on both of you and you've got to handle it. Children can handle differences. What unsettles them is the divided direction, and we'll be looking at that. Children do not need 2 identical parents, and I'm not so sure if there's ever been an identical parent whereby 2 parents are identical. It's quite hard to come across that. A child needs 2 parents whose differences still point in one direction. Whatever the child needs is direction, not 2 directions. So parenting unity is not being the same, is not sameness, but it is clarity, is actual consistency and safety for the child. Children can adapt to different personalities, but usually struggle under competing messages. We didn't go so much deep on the effects of that, but shall look at it later on. We're going to explore understanding the hidden roots of parenting differences, why loving parents still disagree, what shapes father and mother differently, very critical, how parents can remain different yet very united. Simple rhythms and tools for alignment. What the child needs is emotional safety, predictability, consistency, clear leadership, and a dependable message. These are extremely important guardrails for a child to grow normally. That's emotional safety, the emotional environment, climate that you create at home, through the words that you speak, how you relate with each other as a father and a mother. They expect predictability that comes from our structured and routines within the home. They expect consistency in your speech, in your relationships, not different voices, but they expect consistency in the same voice, same standard across situations, scenarios, and environments. They expect clear leadership, not divided leadership. They expect a dependable message. No, today you say this way, then tomorrow you're saying something else. When these aspects are present within the environment in the home, our children feel secure and able to grow healthy. But when they're missing, children begin to compensate, they start testing, they get split, and sometimes they withdraw. A child's heart will always find rest where parenting direction is clear. Where there's no direction, the child gets confused, and that confusion goes deeper into creating different aspects within the child's character and upbringing. So when parents differ without alignment, what the child experiences is this. When they see different roles, the child gets confused because they wholly depend on the parent. When the father says something else and the mother says something else, whatever the child sees is confusion. When they experience contradicting responses, what grows within them is insecurity. When one parent is undoing what the other one has done, whatever breeds within them is instability. Tension between parents is anxiety. Then pressure to side with one parent, we say divided loyalty, which is extremely very important. So children stop asking what is right and start asking who is easier to relate with, to deal with, or to be with. As a result, character formation is compromised. A child starts having what we call dual personalities. They behave different when they're with this one and different when with the other one. They start having preference. One home, whether it's one home or two homes, the context may change, but the child's needs always remain the same. Let's look at it. When we are doing it within one roof, within one roof, the disagreements are more visible. The child is able to see what's happening. But within different roofs, disagreements is more structural. We shall look at that later on. Within one roof, contradiction happens in real time, and the child has a direct experience. While different roofs, contradiction happens across different homes. In situations whereby the child has to maybe go to the father's side, after some time go to the mother's side, contradiction happens where there are different roles, different structures, different routines. All those ones are contradictions. So tension can fill the atmosphere within one room, within one roof, but when the parents are different, transitions carry the tension. Transitions whereby the child moves from one home to another home, those are transitions. Parents must align privately within one roof. Parents must coordinate with intentionality because they're in different places, they're not staying together. So whether it's one home or two, the child needs emotional coherence and clear values. That's extremely very important. But why is it that still loving parents, they differ? What are the hidden roots of parenting differences? What makes you and probably a wife or you and your husband differ? There's some factors we can attribute to that. Number one is you grew up in different places, upbringing, you experience different environments that formed you. Your current personality, your current view of life is a net product of the number of years you've lived and the experiences in those years. So upbringing always teach and leaves marks of which you bring and carry into your marriage and your parenting. Childhood wounds, extremely very critical. The past pain always shapes how you react currently or presently. Your temperament, your natural emotion and behavioral tendencies, also very critical. Personality wiring, we are all wired different by God, and we have different ways of thinking, different ways of responding to different situations and scenarios. We respond to fear differently. We respond to lack differently. We respond to our child's failures differently because of how we are naturally wired. Beliefs about love, that those who believe about protection, comfort, discipline, or preparation, they're all quite different. Others just have core fears, fear of rebellion. If I cane my child, maybe the child will reject me or something. So they have fear, relationship fear. Okay, because they were hurt before and probably they experience the same. Stress and pressure, usually fatigue and life demands, they affect our responses, but also God's design. We all have distinct strengths and weaknesses which God created and placed within our lives. We were never born to be supermen or perfect men. We were born with strengths, with weaknesses. which help define the path she'll take in life. Now, there are about 4 areas. There are about 4 areas that are mainly sourced. When you look at these 8 areas, we can categorize them into 4 key areas that our differences come from, where 2 loving parents may still respond differently. One is our past, your family background, child experiences, previous models of correction and affection. Then number 2, your wiring. Number 3, fear. Number 4, your design, how you are created. Usually, for you to be able to handle certain things, at some point, you need to go back to these aspects and try to understand yourself. When we do sometimes marriage counseling, we always do some of those tests. We have some materials and templates, we just use them to do the tests for people to be able to understand who they are and whom they're relating to, so that they are able to know that this person, this is their tendencies, this is how you grow up, and he's likely to respond like this when this goes like that and that. So they are aware. But the most important thing to note is the difference is not the enemy. The differences are natural. They will always be there, and they're not the enemy. The challenge, the problem is unaligned differences. When these differences are not aligned, that's where the challenge is. So the real problem is not different personalities or strengths or styles or instincts. The problem is unmanaged differences, unnamed differences, dishonored differences, and unaligned differences. These differences become dangerous when they're not understood and not aligned. It's extremely very important as a couple to know which difference exists between you in terms of your temperaments, in terms of your wiring. How do you view life in terms of your upbringing and your expectation? You like it or not, you're very different. So you must go back and try to audit these aspects of your life so that you're able to bring the peace that the child needs, the unity the child needs. The usual 2 parenting theories through 2 lenses, 1 child. The usual parent who sees everything through the protection lens, and the usual parent who sees everything through the preparation lens. So this slide helps us understand why 2 loving parents can look at the same child but respond differently. Very often, they're looking at through different lenses, and that's the protection lens and the preparation lens. The protection lens asks, how can I shield my child from this pain? While the preparation lens say, how can I equip my child for life? So the protection lens is driven by nurture, safety, comfort, and emotional care. That lens is a gift. Children do not need protection. Of course, children do need protection. But when protection stands alone without preparation, it weakens that which require dependency. One is looking through the protection lens, as I mentioned before, and then the other one's looking at through the preparation lens. The preparation lens asks, how can I equip my child for life? It's driven by purpose, it's driven by strength, discipline, and growth. That lens is also a gift. Children must be prepared for real life. But when preparation stands alone, it weakens that which is meant to create. So neither lens is the enemy. If the father is looking through the protection lens, or the mother mostly look at protection lens, while the fathers mostly look at through preparation lens. So the problem is not the preparation lens or the protection lens. The problem is both lenses must merge so that the child grows up securely and strong. Protection without preparation breeds dependency, while preparation without protection breeds insecurity. These two lengths do not just arise. They arise from what we call beliefs. So you can say there's what we call the battle of beliefs between the father and the mother. The battle of belief. They believe different things. So every reaction, however small or big it is, it flows from belief. If you believe a mistake is equivalent to disrespect, you are going to respond with punishment. If you believe a mistake is equivalent to immaturity, you're going to respond with teaching and probably training. If you believe love is equal to protection, you're going to respond with shielding the child, as the other one is responding differently. If you believe love is equivalent to preparation, you're going to respond by challenge. So this argument in parenting is not the difference in style, it's the difference in meaning. The difference in meaning, meaning there's lack of misalignment, lack of alignment. But the most critical thing as a parent is to ensure there is a unified response. How do you do this as a parent? Unified response. The first thing, when there's an issue, which I'll look at this more later on again, when there's an issue, pause. Don't answer the child until you've aligned, even briefly. 2, name the driver. What is driving this? Is it fear? Is it belief? What is it? Is it fear? What is it that's behind, that's fueling that instinct? Return to values. Shall look at them later on. What lesson are we trying to form in the child? Choose one message. What we are saying here is be in control of yourself. Be in control of your emotions. Be in control of the situation. Be aware of what you're trying to pass on to the children, to the child. Alignment is a skill you've got to practice, not a mood you wait for. If you not practice it, you don't have it. Just like any other skill. If you don't practice something, you don't have that skill. Anything that you want to achieve or any weakness you have that you want to overcome in life, you've got to practice the opposite. The usual 4 parenting postures. The usual 4 parenting postures. Which one describes you? There's a controller whose strength is structure and order. The risk is the fear, is fear or rebellion. They believe if I lose control, I lose respect. At the core of their belief, that is what they believe. And the posture is the comforter, mostly mothers. If I say no, I lose connection. So the strength is warmth and empathy, and the risk is dependency. Then there's a coach posture. They believe that boundaries build maturity, just like any other coach. So the strength is love, truth, love and truth balance. And the risk is a needs patience. And then there's a companion posture. Trust produces openness. The strength is deep connection, loss of authority. None of these postures is wrong, but each of them needs balance. Okay? So there's some parents who are lean towards the controller posture. They bring structure and order, which is important. But when it is overused, it can create fear or rebellion. Others lean towards a comforter posture. They bring warmth and comfort, which children need a lot. But without balance, it can create what we call dependency. The coach posture is often the healthiest goal. It combines both love and truth, boundaries and growth. Its challenges is that it requires patience and consistency, requires time. But while some other parents lean towards what we call companion posture, this posture creates deep connection and openness. But if over extended, it can weaken authority. So the key point is no posture is wrong, but each one posture needs balance. The goal is not to shame your tendency, but the goal is for you to identify your default posture and how to healthily balance it out as a parent. So the question is, which posture describes you? All right? Which posture correctly divides you? Let's look at God's design in differences. Distinction or differences do not necessarily mean divided. God, in his wisdom and knowledge, he never designed the father and the mother to be carbon copies. They were created to be complements, to complement each other. Complement means your strength could be my weakness, and my strength could be your weakness. When I'm stronger in one area and you're weak in that area, I come to complement it. You cannot always be strong in all areas. That's what meaning of complement. So they are designed to be complements and not same equals. Different strengths can serve one shared purpose. One may lean towards structure, another one may lean towards nurture. One may move a bit faster, another one may process more deeply. So these differences are not automatically dysfunction. Instead, they're meant to be complementary, aligned. When they are aligned. So God gives different strengths so that together parents renew a fuller picture of wisdom, truth, nurture, and care. So what are we saying? We are saying that those differences are designed by God because nobody is full or complete in themselves. You need someone else to be able to complement your weaknesses as you complement the weaknesses. When these differences exist, the child and the normalized, let's see what the child interprets. If parents repeatedly model contradiction, correction of each other before the child, emotional tension, inconsistency, or silent rivalry, what does the child learn? The children learn that authority is negotiable. Truth depends on who is speaking, or who is more powerful, or who's more harsh. Manipulation works because if you're tough, you'll go and ask mommy. Mommy refuses, goes to ask daddy. And when asked daddy, daddy gives in. So the child learns that manipulation works. And that's where corruption comes in future. Okay? If you want something, manipulate two sides, bend the standards, then you get what you need. They learn it from parents. They also learn that conflict is normal. Love and tension always travel together, which is quite unfortunate. When we look at it from the one roof perspective, common unit challenges in the same house, some of the things that happen, correcting each other in front of the child, you undermine the other person, the other couple's or spouse's authority before the child. One parent rescues after the other corrects. Okay? The other one wants to cane, the other one rescues. Different voices, different reactions, different approaches. Reacting before discussing privately. Our response. How should we respond to this? Turning parenting into a power struggle. Carrying marital frustration into parenting moments. Those are two different things. Your marriage and parenting is quite different. This is a third part who's a child, while marriage is for you too. So you're not supposed to carry your marital frustration into parenting moments because the child, they've got their own life. Inconsistent follow-through. The key challenge here is visible contradiction, and the child is seeing those contradictions, and from them, they're learning. When it's different roles, whereby you're not staying with your husband, with your wife, different roles in different homes. When the child goes to the father's side, they must sleep at 8. And then the mother's side, they can go up to 2 a.m. watching movies. The child is becoming the messenger, Go and tell dad this. If you want something, go and tell him this. Transition filled with tension. Transition whereby you hand over the child to the other person. Filled with tension and arguing, whereby the vehicle door is the courtroom at the parking or somewhere when you're handing over. Different expectation routines, and the child sees them quite differently. The mother side is more easier, the father side is more tough or harder. Major decisions handled separately. Loyalty pressure placed on the child. You want the child to love you more as opposed to the other person. So you weaponize the child. These are what you call the structural inconsistency. What must stay the same? Whether it's one home or two homes, parents must protect the child's peace. The child's rights to love both parents must be protected. Direct adult to adult communication. The child should not come in between. The child does not understand, it's not to the level of your maturity. The things you speak, it does not understand. It does not understand what's marriage and all that. So ensure there's direct adult to adult communication, not adult, child, adult. Ensure the communication is between the two of you and not through the child. Ensure there's what we call shared core values, respectful correction, alignment on major decisions, things like schools, like birthdays, major decisions. Ensure there's emotional safety during transitions. The bottom line is separate spaces do not have to produce divided child. The child has their own share of life. They're not meant to live yours. How do I achieve this? We can have what we call one voice framework. Very critical. What one voice framework means is built on three things. Shared values. What kind of a person are we raising? Shared message. What must our child consistently hear from us? And three, flexible expression. How can each parent express that message according to their strengths without changing its meaning? So one voice does not mean identical delivery. It means alignment in meaning. So those three things, which are non-negotiable for you to ensure there's a unity and there's one voice. Shared values. What kind of a child are we raising? Shared message. What must our child consistently hear from us? Whether staying in different places, the child needs to hear the same voice. And flexible expression. One voice does not mean identical delivery. It means aligned meaning. So those are three things: values, voice, and methods. The values, voice, and methods. And these are where the parents must be aligned. Values, what kind of adult are we trying to raise? The voice, what message must the child consistently hear? Methods, how will we express that message? Okay, methods, how will we express that message? Principle, parents can differ more safely in methods if they're aligned in values and voice. Parents can differ more safely in methods if they're aligned in values and voice. But what I would say, that parents can differ in a risky way if they're not aligned in values and voice. Let's look at shared values, very critical. What must clear in every home, whether the home is under one roof or different? Shared values are the moral language of the home. What do you speak? What do you value? These values answer the question, what kind of a person are we trying to raise? Have you agreed? Have you talked about it? Or you're just moving through parenting journey? There must be a consistent agreement on the kind of a person you're trying to raise. This helps parents move from reacting to behavior to intentionally forming character. Parenting is forming character. That's why we do our courses, the values-driven parenting, because parenting is forming character, training the child to become what God desires them to be. The child must hear the same moral language from both parents. Same moral language from both parents. Shared values give parents a common standard for leadership. Without them, parenting becomes reactive and inconsistent. So it's very critical to have a shared values. It stems from a clear understanding of which kind of a person we are raising, the two of us, whether you stay in the same house or we've separated or whichever place you are in. Some core values include values like respect, truthfulness, self-control, diligence. You've got to model them because you cannot train without modeling. When you train a value without modeling, it loses its credibility in the child. It becomes void and empty. It becomes external. It becomes external compliance. All right? It becomes external compliance. Why shared values matter? They help parents correct with consistency, whether it's with the mother, the father is not there. They help them correct with consistency. They reduce mixed messages. They help build one moral direction. They help shape identity, right? They help shape identity and not just behavior. Let's look at two: shared message, the voice. This answers the question, what must a child consistently hear? Shared values must become shared messages. Because you have shared values, so they must become shared messages. Children build their inner world from the messages they repeatedly hear. Whatever the child keeps hearing from whatever we always do in our classes when you train, is that message ends up building their identity from what they hear all the time. So what parents say often becomes what children believe deeply. Very critical. Why does this matter? Shared messages helps the child feel secure. They hear the same voice, understand expectations. It helps them interpret correction properly. Because if the shared message is different, understand it's different between the father and the mother, the child will not be able to interpret correction differently. One thing is correct to the father, another thing is not correct to the mother. So that brings confusion. They help connect love with responsibility. The consistency creates the stability, and the child is able to connect love with responsibility. It helps them feel emotionally secure and grow up in clarity and character. So the message is different. You end up undermining the clarity of parenting and the child's character. So a child, some of the messages the child should consistently hear from you as a parent is, we love you. I was asking my wife sometimes, why is it some parents just too hard for them to say, I love you? The words love, very hard to come out of their mouth. Love does not remove boundaries. It strengthens them. It makes everything that's blood more clear. Truth matters in this home. Respect is required. Those are some of the words. So children will grow best when love and truth are heard together. Extremely very important. So have a shared message. What must a child consistently hear? Talk, discuss, come up with a way so that whether you are presenting it differently, expressing it differently, the child is still hearing the same message. 3, flexible expressions. Parents can sound different, but mean the same thing. Unity does not require identical tone or personality. It's very important that parents learn how to express to the child who they are without feigning or faking. Okay? So parents may express the same truth in different ways while still leading the child with one message. Parents may differ in style. One can be firm, another one can be gentle. One can be brief, another one very detailed. Another one can be very direct, another one relational. But the child needs to receive the same message, same lesson, same boundaries, same value, same overall message. It's very different. That whatever the difference in expression is carrying should be the same. The bottom line is different in tone is safe when difference in meaning is absence. You are meant to remain different, yet united, because you can never be the same. Be different, but not divided. Unity does not mean losing individuality. It means bringing different strengths under one shared purpose for the child. The goal in parenting is not to erase difference, but to align it. The biggest challenge we always do as parents is we use our natural differences and we attach values to our natural difference as opposed to the other person. So father and mother may bring different personalities, instincts, and strength, yet still lead with one message. Unity is not one parent dominating, one parent withdrawing. It does not mean identical personalities or rigid sameness in tone or method. No. Unity means shared direction. It means shared values. It also means shared correctional spirit, mutual respect, consistency meaning, child-centered leadership. Now, when this happens, difference stops feeling threatening. Both parents remain strong and present. The child experiences clarity, safety, and steadiness. What we are saying is the parents do not need to have the same, lead in the same way, but they can lead in the same direction. They don't have to be the same, but they can lead in the same direction. In any case, they will never be the same. What are we saying? It's very important as parents to pursue unity. How does this unity look like? The simple alignment language. Unity is strengthened by consistent language. The words parents use can reduce confusion, protect the child, and reinforce one shared direction. For example, let us talk privately when an issue arises and you know you're going to be different to the child. You say, let us talk privately, address it, then come back. You can say we may express it differently, but our message is the same. I'm talking with the child. The mother can express it differently, the father differently, but the message is the same. Aspect of consistency in meaning. You don't need to choose between us, tell the child, because we are the same. That has to always come out. That behavior is not acceptable, but we will guide you together. The child has to be able to see that sameness. And these phrases help protect the child from divided messages or attention or trying to seek one parent over the other. They help keep correction calm and united, reinforce safety and clarity, and also eliminate manipulation opportunities that it can arise because of that divided message or lack of unity that you're having before the child. So unity becomes visible when parents speak with shared meaning. The meaning is the same between the father and the same as the father. It is the father as it is the same to the mother. A practical scenario, very basic from a home. Take a scenario of homework versus rest. It's late in the evening and the child, there's homework to be done and the child also wants to rest. And this is brought up. So the child is tired and homework is unfinished. One parent emphasizes discipline and completion. The other parent emphasizes rest and emotional state. How is the health and outcome? They'll argue in front of the child. One parent overrides the other. The child learns there's a division. Everything that happens in a home, the child is learning. So the unhealthy way of handling that difference is an argument. One parent overrides because he is a man or she is something, overrides. What happens? The child ends up learning the division. Unity grows through rhythm and not assembly. What is a healthy outcome? You amend there's an issue, a scenario with a potential message of disunity. What do? First pause. Discuss privately, agree on the lesson, return with one message. The message could be, you both need responsibility and rest. Tonight, we will finish this in a calm and structured way. You're able to come back just by pausing and discussing privately. You're able to come back with one message. You don't need to be in a hurry because you're raising your child. Create that moment so the child knows this discussion, the synchronicity between you and your wife or you and the husband. 5 minutes parenting check-in, daily rhythm. Small daily conversations usually prevent larger parenting misalignment. A simple 5-minute check-in helps parents to stay aware, aligned, and prepared before differences turn into conflict. Ask daily, what happened today with the child? Is there anything we need to align on? Did either of us feel tension in the parenting moment? Is there a message the child needs to hear clearly from both of us? Very critical. The goal is prevent conflict by aligning early before it comes. Is to reduce what's called reactive parenting. Keep both parents aware and connected. Unity is easier to maintain than to rebuild later. Very critical. So how do you maintain it? Have maybe 5-minute check-in. It could be on phone call. It could be together with your wife or with your husband. Within the week, when you continue with the daily rhythm, whether you're under one roof or different roofs, parenting unity needs intentional review. Unity requires intentional review. You have one object to raise the child. So have moments where you review how you're doing it. Set aside about 15 to 20 minutes weekly to discuss what is going well, where the child is testing because of the difference in approaches, where you differed as parents, what values needs reinforcement, and what message needs strengthening. What one adjustment is needed the coming week. It is very, very important to have those weekly check-in and parenting meetings so we're able just to discuss and see. So it's not an autopilot method or approach of parenting. For one roof, you can align privately, reduce physical contradictions, strengthen shared follow-up. But when you're staying differently with your wife in different places, review your transitions, clarify cross-home expectations, align on major and shared values. Because rhythm grows stronger through rhythm and not assumption. Every time you are on autopilot, you're never meeting, you're never discussing the progress. You don't have daily, weekly goals as parents. You're on autopilot and you are parenting by assumption, which broods what you call a reactive parenting. Rules for healthy alignment. Some patterns weaken unity quickly, whether parents live under one roof or across two roofs. So number one, do not correct each other in front of the child. Very critical. Be composed, wait, breathe in, breathe out, okay? Do not use the child as a messenger. It's not yet to your level, especially it's adult communication or something you want to manipulate your wife or your husband to do. Reverse each other emotionally in the moment. I've seen most couples who weaponize the children. I think there's one of the couples we are working with, counseling right now and working with, and one of the things that done best is to weaponize the children. Okay, if the man wants to go and see the wife, something, he fastens the child, then the child says, I want to be with you. Then so the man will follow up in the evening and say, I'm coming to pick the child. And then the wife knows you're doing something. So all that keeps whatever. So we're not supposed to weaponize, all right, our children. You're not supposed to drag old pain into current parenting. We are supposed to be aware of the old pain and be able to address it. We are not supposed to force the child to pick sides. The child has rights to both, so they should not pick the sides. We are not supposed to discuss conflict during handover or transition. The moments where the child is going to, you're handing over the child to the other couple, to the other spouse, we should not discuss conflict during those moments. Let fear make the final decision. You should not let fear make the final decision. You're supposed to make decisions out of being rational and a sober mind. So these patterns create confusion, they weaken authority and place emotional weight on the child, which they may not be able to handle yet. Some of the tools for different roles that we can adopt: simple co-parenting alignment tools. When parents live in different homes, alignment must be more intentional and more clearly structured. Direct parent-to-parent communication, very important, not through the child. Written agreement on the core values, very critical, so that you're all aware of what you're developing that child. Peaceful handover routines, no interrogation after transitions. No bad-mouthing the other parent. Very important, especially when you're doing it to the child. That is no goes on, okay? You need to have agreement on major decisions: education, health, faith, discipline, principle, safety concerns. Have an agreement on those key principles. If homes are different, values must even be more clearer, must be more stronger and more clearer. The guardrails to raise a healthy child should be much more stronger. It's like when you're staying in a home, in a place where there's insecurity, you build more stronger, get more higher walls, okay? So values must be much more followed deliberately and strongly with intention when you're staying in different homes and not with your spouse. That's extremely very, very important. Some of the common co-parenting mistakes that people do: using the child as a messenger. Tell your mom to turn your child into a courier or a judge. And these things usually, they quietly increase conflict and end up stressing the child. Arguing during transitions, during the drop-off or pickup in public, stage of private conflict, okay? But mouthing or sarcasm, the child hears it as an attack on half of who they are. So about mouthing the other partner before the child. Treating every issue as urgent. Urgency increases the activity, reduces emergency systems, reduce emergencies. So we're supposed to be in control of every moment and not treat everything as very urgent. Weaponizing fairness. The goal is the child's stability, not a scorecard. Very important. Those are some of the mistakes of co-parenting that we need to avoid. There's some non-negotiables when you're doing co-parenting. Never speak negatively about the other parent in front of the child. Maintain consistent core values across homes. discuss about the schedules, discuss about the expectations, the communication language, okay? Communicate directly, not through the child. Support the child's relationship with the other parents. Very important. Align on major decisions, education, health, faith. Okay? Number 4, support the child relationship with the other parent. Help the child relate with the other parent. Very critical. Not easy to achieve, but quite critical. Some tool can use here is what we call the co-parenting charter. This includes a written values covenant, not a legal document, but something that can help you. The 6 essential aspects of this is shared values, the discipline philosophy, okay? The communication protocol. How do you communicate? When do you communicate? On which days? Using what? The communication you can do on email, the communications that you do on WhatsApp, that those you do on message, different depending on different situations and scenarios. Major decisions on health, on education, on relationships and all that. Transitions and exchanges, very critical. Conflict resolution, how do you handle conflicts, also should come be part of that charter. So the charters do not remove conflict. It gives you a map for navigating those different conflicts. Here's a sample. Top 3 values that you can have. The non-negotiables. Will communicate by maybe the channel and the timing, and an email when, message by when, like that. Decisions that require joint agreement, transition rules, drop-off during drop-off and pick-up. When conflict arises, what shall we do? It's quite important. So you can always get one charter of the same kind or craft something that reflects what you want to see. Now, there's something called BIFF, be brief, informative, be friendly, but be firm. Brief means keep it short during your communication. 3 to 5 sentences maximum. Be informative. State facts, not feelings. All right? Be friendly, neutral, respectful tone. No sarcasm, no accusations. Remain firm. State your boundary clearly. I will communicate. For example, I'll communicate future delays if there was a delay. BFF doesn't win arguments. It ends them. And that's the point. Be brief, informative, friendly, and firm. This comes in when you are co-parenting. It is for messages. BF is for messages and not for processing emotions. Okay? The 24-hour rule. Usually, yes, Miss Sire, I see you raise a hand. Maybe should I complete, then we come in with some questions. Just note once we complete, we'll come in. There's something called the 24-hour rule. To cool down the emotion. Never respond in emotion. Before sending any message during conflict, number 1, read the trigger message. Again, write your response. Get it out. Save as a draft, but do not send it. Wait for 24 hours. Reread with fresh eyes. Edit your BIF. Send it only if still needed. So the 24-hour rule helps you show up with wisdom instead of wounds. Usually, co-parenting, when people are living in different places, the wounds are quite painful. So the aspect of waiting, being in control of yourself, will end up healing a lot of wounds. Because usually the issue of responding. You send the message, I send immediately. You send, I send. Okay? During transitions, there is a lot of conflict during transitions. where you're dropping off or you're picking up the child, in whichever way, or when the child moves from one side to another side, they ask what happened and all that. So never discuss conflict during drop-off or pickups. Greet politely, don't bring up sensitive topics. Exchange necessary information, but don't argue about schedules. Say goodbye warmly. Don't use the child as a messenger. The goal is 5 minutes or less. You've done the exchange, take a different route. The car door is not a courtroom. The driveway is not a battlefield. Okay? Take an example, a scenario in this situation of co-parenting, late pickup and raising anger. The situation is one parent arrives 20 minutes late. The other feels very disrespected. The child is watching. What not to do in the driveway? Argue, accuse, or make the child watch, or demand a full explanation. The better approach is keep exchange calm, send a BIF message as we went through before, request future notice, protect the transition time. For example, BIF pickup says, pickup was 7, you arrived at 6:20, please text if you will be late so we can plan. And then the other person also responds the same way. Let's look at scenario 2. Different screen time rules across different homes. Challenge: one home is strict, the other is flexible. The child compares and negotiates. Alignment move: agree on shared value if the rules differ. Let the values be the same. Example of the shared value: we value sleep, school responsibility, and respectful media. Unified message: child, different homes have different routines, but the value remains the same. We don't bargain by switching our parents. Why? Because consistency is often a shared message, not necessarily the identical rules. Let's look at some of the roadmap. Simple roadmap. For recurring conflicts to stable homes, number 1 is reduce reactivity, whether you're staying with the husband or in different places. Reduce reactivity. Use the 24-hour rule or BIF to stop emotional spirals. Number 2, focus on protecting the child. Let the child not be part of the conflict, whether during the transitions or any other moment. The negative self-talk in front of the child should not take place because the emotions of that child is not ready to that level. Build shared systems. We talked about them. They've shared values, the communication, the expression, and then decide on what must be consistent across the different homes. Review and refine. Weekly check-in. What worked? What needs adjustment? It calls for maturity in managing yourself as a couple, as different partners. So if you do co-parenting in a healthy way, you're going to experience different kinds of fruits you can put. There's going to be predictability, rules and routines feel stable even across homes. And this is what helps the child more secure. Peaceful transitions, secure attachment. The child can love both parents without fear that they'll be victimized by the other parent, which is very critical. Better behavior, there'll be less testing and negotiation of standards. They become more responsible and more cooperative. Then resilient family culture. Conflict still happens, but no longer controlling the home. So what are we saying? That 2 homes can still raise 1 child in a steady way without a compromise. I want to encourage you that this week, choose 1 step. Small considered action. Small considered actions that beat occasional big talks. Do a draft of one-page charter that has the values, the communication transitions. Practice BIF on the next difficult message or situations. Protect the transitions. Keep it to 5 minutes or less. No conflict. Set a weekly schedule whereby you have a touch-in with the other co-parent so that you're on the same page. Progress is built by the next right message, the next right transition, the next right boundary. It's very important that as parents, I didn't talk about emotions, but it's always very important that we manage our emotions, be in control of ourselves, especially if you're a believer. You don't just answer, it's not just about you. The different stakeholders in your life. One of the stakeholders is God, and he has a standard of expectation, how you should always respond to the other spouse, how you should always handle your child. We always learn that parenting is a sacred stewardship. And so God gives this child to raise him for about 15, 18 years, like the actual direct, before they're able to know how to relate with God. And so you expect you to set up systems to create processes and stable environment that the child can grow in a stable way. So every time we find our stations in situations whereby the conflict between us and the opposite partner, it creates those moments whereby even your relationship with God is somehow compromised. So it's very important that you put certain things important first. And one of them is ensuring that you maintain a stable, healthy relationship with your Creator, who is God through the work of the Holy Spirit. So whatever you're doing, you know that you're expressing a God. We are created to express Him if you're born again. The Bible says the Holy Spirit lives in us. It goes on to say that we died. It's no longer us living, but Christ lives in me. What does it mean? It means everything we do, whether in thought, in word, or deed, we are His expressions. We're expressing. The question is what you're doing actually or really express Him in those different situations and moments? That's very important and very critical, that to maintain a healthy relationship, to maintain a healthy relationships, especially with the Holy Spirit. So co-parenting well, thank you so much. I welcome questions and answers. Two homes can still raise one child without emotional safety when the adult protects the child's peace. That's very critical. Two homes, one child, and shared purpose. Thank you so much. That is our presentation today and what you're speaking today. Allow me to read some of people put some questions in the chat here. Someone say my son, 17-year-old, got involved in that, and I think was responded to. When my child, yes, keep on sharing, SKM said there was a situation where my daughter was supposed to go for a tour and I declined, while my husband just paid without us sitting on a round table. My reason was there was no report the previous tour as previously agreed. Yes, this was meant to be discussed between the two of you, and each hear each other's views and thoughts, and then have a united response. So in this case here, I've told the child to learn to negotiate. So next time there's an issue, you go to the father and not to you, because he knows that side there's a favorable response as compared to the mother. So that is the effect the child. A friend's 17-year-old boy was caught in a discipline issue, and the mother decided to cane him. It was humiliating, but later we talked and solved the issue. I think that is very important. I would say reiterate that we're offering very modern courses in this area of discipline, whether it's a youth, 10 to 18 years, and all that. How do you relate with an 18-year-old? How do you manage discipline issues for such kind of a child? a 4-year, 8-year, 10-year, very critical courses, and we encourage you that if you can, be able to join those courses to gain this knowledge, okay? So that's very important. Caning 17-year-old, the process that must lead to that, okay? When you correct your child, but you are not on the same page, very critical, be on the same page, have standard ways of responding. We keep training that correcting and all that has to be very predictable, very structured. Let the child know if this mistake happens, that happens. Have them properly documented. Florence says, one time I had a problem with my daughter, and when my husband came, she discussed with the dad and decided with her without my knowledge. The following morning, at around 4 a.m., my husband took her to his sister's. It was not easy for me. I can imagine this was quite tough for you. Yes. So they took up the sister to protect her from you. What happened? That was quite a serious one. Yes. As I mentioned, have daily check-ins, weekly check-ins, and make it a rhythm so that you're always on the same page. Discuss the issue before you respond. Most of the time, the father's away, the mother's at home, something happens, the mother finishes up everything. The father only hears later on that this happened. Always discuss, be on the same page during those family moments, the family moments, discuss different issues, which and how you respond to them before they happen. Sylvia says, is it right when one teenager does something, the other teenager will be treated with suspicion? Is it right when one teenager does something, the other teenager will be treated with suspicion? And I feel when my husband does that, he'll be pushing the other teenager away because of treating them with suspicion when they are not doing anything like the other one. So this is an aspect of favorism and probably lack of trust among the children. I really don't know how to respond to this one, but what I can say is it's very important to not to compare children and to be fair across the children, because if you do, you are increasing what to call children sibling rivalry, and you are destroying one child as you are elevating the other child, because the net outcome of that child will be what you've been inputting in that child for all those years. So it's very, very critical that your husband is aware that these children, they're both growing and it's them shaping them. When one has done a mistake, you don't need to treat with suspicion. Sit them down, discuss it out. If the child has been brought up with the values, they'll confess that I'm the one who did it and not so and so. And the one who's also feeling being suspected all the time, bring it up. As a wife with the husband, talk it out. Have daily rhythms, weekly rhythms, just bring up these things. The family meetings, what you call the weekly cycles, bring them up during the family, after dinner, during the prayer time, just discuss them out. And then let all these issues be aired out so that you're on the same page. Lydia, you're welcome. Josephine, thank you. Thanks so much for the above presentation. Please, we share the slide. Yes, later on, very empowering presentation. Samuel, you said so. Dorothy, very insightful presentation. Is it possible to share? Yes, we're going to share the recording. Jen Joker says, what should happen when one parent does not want any talk? Does things, he just thinks his own way, a bully kind of. Jen, I will advise that it's very, very important that you still sit down with your husband and be able to talk. And if he's not able to, find a way, probably through counseling, through the pastor, but it's very, very important that you are able to sit down with your husband and be able to talk and be on the same page. Most of these people do the same because probably of upbringing, how they're brought up, and maybe their personal experiences in life. And that does not change the fact that you are both parenting and you need to be on the same page, because the effect is detrimental in how that child is growing. So that is extremely very important. Yes. What's your take where both parents are away. What's your take when both parents are away? What does it mean away? Away like co-parenting, away from the children? Maybe that one needs clarity, Jen, before we respond to it. Fidelis says, my 5-year-old can sometimes just decide to be stubborn. Had I kuoga, ako rough, what do I do? Fidelis, can you join our class? Parenting through developmental stages. In this course, Parenting by Design, we are going to see practically how you can parent your child. You start parenting your child from the time you conceive that child. The child starts hearing the voice, and that voice becomes the voice of influence that locks in. That's why the parent has the highest influence on a child than any other person in life. So the 5-year-old is at a certain stage whereby this child has not learned what to call moral awareness. The stubbornness is not a moral issue. It is a lack of skill regulation issue. Because moral awareness comes later on. It's a lack of skill issue, okay? And response to certain stimuli within them. Could be fear of water, fear of something. So that stubbornness is emotional, lack of emotional regulation issue. But there's more we can talk around that, Fidelis. We encourage you that if you can, you can still take up all the course starting on Wednesday, and we'll be able to respond to most of this question. Not just a 5-year-old, but all those ages from 0 to 3 years with this child learning, 4 to 9, 10 to 18, above 18. How do you respond? How do you handle different cases? A stubborn 16-year-old is very different from a stubborn 4-year-old or 6-year-old, totally different. And so the response is quite different. Okay, totally different. For the parent, you cannot respond the same way because that stubbornness is stemming from different roots. One is moral and lack of values. Another one is a lack of skill of regulation, but the moral awareness is not there, okay? Rachel says, what can I do with the father of my child? God blessed me with a child of Down syndrome. After her birth, the father got another woman and wedded her. He sent financial assistance for the baby's upkeep, but doesn't take him to see the girl, but doesn't take time to see the girl. Keeps demanding for photos and the milestone of growth. The girl soon will be 3 years, but he last to her a year back. What can I do to help unite the baby and the dad? Rich, are you able to get in touch? We talk about this a bit at length on this issue. I think we're going to share the contacts. Okay, request that we probably share more about this. We need to go much more deeper, understand why, what happened, and maybe just be able to maybe reach out to the man, because we are also in that area of counseling, and we are able to support in that area. So probably Rachel, we can get in touch after this, and then we can talk more. I see a contact is there, Rachel. We'll get in touch. Okay. Patricia Monkey, the email, I can see it, away from children, so away from both parents are away from children. Jen, I really don't know why you are both away from the children. The danger and the risk of being away from the children is very critical, because God gives you very few windows in a child's life. And those are the 3 critical windows that God gives you: 0 to 3 years, where the child is learning by association. All the relationship issues in future child's life that learn from 0 to 3 years. This is what you call the child learns what you call the unstructured values, like love, like trust, like confidence, okay? Like communication. 0 to 3 years, the foundational years for relationship. And they learn this from the mother. Is the foundational years for all the values in future. For example, a child who's a good team player in future. From 0 to 3 years, they're learning team playing and cooperation through touch, through presence, through smile. Then 4 to 9, that turns into what we call cooperation. Then 10 to 18 turns into teamwork, because the mind, the neural disposition is changing and growing at different ages. So also the values keeps morphing. So it's very important that these things that as a parent, you've got to be there. And if you miss a certain window because being away, it becomes very tricky and very challenging to rectify or to remediate the same in the future. So then I would see requests that it's very important that both parents are with the children, or at least one parent is with the children. All right? We keep saying whether you're at home or away, you are still parenting. The child is still becoming and learning to live in absence and learning the world ways. The greatest voice of influence in a child is a parent's voice. So encourage that you find a way. God will always provide for you, especially if you're honoring what he wants you to do. From Rachel, what can I do with the father of my child? God blessed me with a child, Down syndrome. I think so. We went through back, is it? Yes, Rachel will discuss that, so you'll get in touch. Christine, what to do when in-laws interferes with one's parenting, wanting a couple to raise a child according to the way they want? Now, this is a marital issue, Christine, because you may not have understood how marriage is supposed to be done. Okay? The in-laws are supposed to be, voices of in-laws is advisory. It's not a decisive voice. Okay? And the face of your marriage to the in-laws is your husband. We keep advising people when you're counseling them that me and my wife, I am the face of my wife to my people, and she is my face to her people. Her people should not actually come to interact with me directly, because they don't know me, I don't know them. They know their son or they know their daughter. So they want to reach me, let them come to me through the wife. I cannot talk to them directly because the dangers are quite many. Okay? Yes, it's important for them to have a voice, but it should not be a voice that interferes. All right? It should be an advisory voice, but not the one that determines. Because it's always good to get advice from different people, but there's not a voice that determines, and that has to be made clear by either the husband to his people or the wife to her people, not the husband to the wife's people or the wife to the husband's people. When you do like that, you cross the boundary and you expose yourself. All right? Maybe we can talk more on that, Christine, probably if you get in touch later on. There are WhatsApp groups here shared. There's one for the community. You can join in. And then there's one for Parenting by Design class, which is going to start on Wednesday. All right, Rachel, you share the number. We'll be able to share it. Christine, you say thank you. Good, thank you. I've responded to almost all the questions. Maybe I can open up the space. Do we have anyone else with any question? Anyone with any question? We are going to share the video, the voice slides of the presentation after this. The speaker's number is 0720 the speaker's number. Somebody wants the speaker's number. I'm going to put it here. +254 720 97 95 70. That's the number. Thank you, Jonita. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Yes, we shall share the video. Florence, it will be shared. The speaker's number has been shared. Rachel's number, we have your number, Rachel. You'll also get in touch with that. The recording will be shared, Diana. That's okay. Yes. Please give more details about the class on Wednesday. The class is 8 every Wednesday, 8 to 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., 2 hours on weekly basis. It will take about 8 sessions. Those are about 8 weeks. The cost is 10,000, can be paid installments, which is quite low compared. Okay, compared to other courses around. Just share your number. Then we shall also get more in touch with more details. But it's parenting by design. It covers this content here. Okay. It covers this content here that we've covered today, but it also goes to many, many more other areas. How to raise different children at different ages, different predispositions. It talks about the parenting environment, how to create a healthy parenting environment at home. It talks about what we've discussed today in this course today. It goes on to discuss how to train different children, different values, because different children perceive values differently, they perceive life differently. So that is quite important. Yes, Munira, yes, I thank you so much for being here once again. You've always been very supportive, great information, enriching presentation. God bless you for empowering people. You are so welcome, Munira. May the Lord bless you so much. Yes, actually, this is I think you have seen this this poster somewhere, 15th April, Parenting by Design. You must have seen it somewhere. The costs are there, both in Kenya and UGX, because you have quite a number of people in Uganda who keeps taking this course and in our classes. So parenting was guesswork. Parenting is meant to be done by design. Very important. This is an 8-week immersive course journey designed to equip you with the principles, frameworks, and practical tools of aligned parenting. Most of the children take up wrong path because of misaligned parenting. And not that the parenting was wrong or anything, but was just misaligned. So we kindly encourage you, if you can take the course, that would be very important. 8 weeks, 2 hours per week, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Kickoff is on 15th. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, these numbers is the 10K both for parents or for individual parents. This is for individual. If they're both parents, there's usually a discount we always give. So Malila, kindly get in touch. Caroline, we are going to get your contacts and then get in touch. Okay, Charles will get your contact and just get in touch. We're going to save them. And also Patricia will get your contact and get in touch. Frederick Obunga, yes, you're welcome. Yes, I thank you that you made it today to be with us. May the Lord indeed bless you so much. Can I hear a voice before we close? We have about 5 or so minutes. Thanks so much. Florence Gizanja, thank you so much. You're welcome. May the Lord bless you. Can I hear a voice? Can somebody give us a vote of thanks? And then we'll be able to close. We always do webinars every 2 weeks. Christine, we've gotten your number. We always do webinars every 2 weeks. So probably the other Sunday, we'll also do a different webinar. We encourage you that if you have time, kindly join in and let us learn together. Can somebody give us a vote of thanks, and then we should be able to close today's session. Melissa, we shall got a number. Patricia Mange, thank you so much. God bless you. We receive the blessings. God bless you too. Yes, vote of thanks. Anybody? Yes, Can someone give us a vote of thanks? Then we close. Yes, Juanita, kindly go ahead.
Thank you so much, Corpus. We are so grateful every time I log on.
Can't hear you, Juanita.
You can't hear me?
Perfect, I can hear you.
Great, sorry. I was saying thank you so much for this program. Thank you for the research. Thank you for the efforts put in, the preparations, demonstrations, slides. You have done us so well. We do the same ministry, but Intercessors for Uganda, spiritual warfare, marketplace leadership, those things. I know the energy is needed behind before you prepare all. You show up with all these. We are so grateful to you. On behalf of the parents who are here, we are saying thank you so much, organizers, for such webinars. You are making our parenting journeys exciteful and very anticipating. May the Lord continually bless you and give you wisdom in all that you do, even that which is ahead of you. Thank you for serving the purpose of the Lord in our generation. I pray that even for other webinars to come, even as the training goes on, that many people will come, their understanding will be brought to enlightenment, so that we parent the next generation with insightful knowledge and revelational things like these we found this side. God bless you and keep you. Maybe we share in the words of the grace and depart.
Amen. Thank you so much, Anita, for that. And the grace
of our Lord
Jesus Christ,
the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, who is with us
all,
now and forevermore. Amen.
World without Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.